Man, these Pistons just cannot win a close game. We're going to break down the Pistons' 7-point loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers and more in just a moment.
Lane, skies a jam. Dynamite dunk and the crowd loves it.
Welcome back to Pistons Intellect. I'm your host, Jack Kelly. You can follow me on Twitter at Jack_Kelly_3on3. And if you're feeling so kind, please hit that subscribe button. Before we get into today's show, I just want to plug the Pistons Intellect Instagram. As I said in the last episode, I've started putting more content on there now. Similar content to what I put on my Twitter. But yeah, there's a bit more Piston-centric, a bit more highlights, a bit more fun stuff. So if you're a big Instagram user and love Piston stuff, I'd appreciate a follow. And yeah, I'm always on there chatting hoops as well. So anyway, now we had a game today. 2 days after the Pistons took down the Oklahoma City Thunder at home in pretty convincing fashion, the Pistons traveled to Cleveland to face an incredibly hot and in form, arguably one of the best teams in the NBA right now in recent weeks, in the Cavaliers. The Cavs are coming off a win over the Clippers, another one of the teams who seem to be vying for a title. And they beat them in their last game, and they'd won 10 of their past 11 entering tonight. So the Cavs have arguably been the in-form team of the East alongside the Celtics. And I must admit, going into this game, I had expectations that the Pistons were going to compete. I don't know why, but I think since that trade, I know a lot of people have been clowning it, like in the sense of like, not clowning it, but a lot like I feel like, that's not the move a lot of Pistons fans wanted to see. And if that's the only move Pistons fans see before the deadline, they'll be upset. And I'm with them. Don't get me wrong. But I think since that trade, this roster just made more sense. There's more spacing. There's not a logjam at the center position. Questionable rotations at times, sure. But the team has just felt more competitive. So coming into tonight, I had expectations that this is going to be a close game. This wasn't like earlier in the season when we were in that losing streak where kind of got excited just to watch the Pistons, but within 10 minutes, you thought it was done. This team feels a bit more competitive these days. And yeah, look, the Cavs came out strong. The Pistons struggled to rebound early in that first quarter. Jalen Duren probably, yeah, he got manhandled. I think that's fair to say once again by a good center. And Jarrett Allen had 14 points, 11 rebounds, 1 block. But it was more than that. Like this game, the matchup between Allen and Duren was much more than whatever the box score shows, because Allen just physically kind of had his way with Duren, and that was going for rebounds. Rebounds which Jarrett Allen didn't get to, but him just being physical with Duren. Allen just, at times Pistons players were scared to go to the rim, or not scared to go to the rim, but they have, didn't look for their shot because of Allen's presence. And Allen is in I was going to say MVP form, all-star form. So he's back to kind of his best of 2 seasons ago. But Jalen Duren tonight, 30 minutes, 10 points, 9 boards. I mean, yeah, he just didn't look up to it. And I'll get to some of his stuff later. But once again, his defense. And when I say his defense, that includes the way the coaches are, deploying him and using him. But some of it's on him. Like his pick and roll defense, like I've spoken about this numerous times, is just, I get why they're playing him in drop coverage, but it felt like Donovan Mitchell knocked down 2 to 4 threes just at key times off pick and roll where Jaden Ivey kind of got caught on Allen's screen, which is a little bit on Ivey, but Duren was just, I felt like he was dropped way too deep in the paint, and it just left one of the best pull-up shooters in the league in Donovan Mitchell wide open, and one of the best scorers, most in-form, hot scorers at the moment. Donovan Mitchell just gave him easy shot time after time. I don't know how much that's on the coaches, how much that's on JD, but either way, it looks bad on Jalen's defense, and then as well as the coaching staff. So a night to forget for Jalen Duren. But back to the game itself, in that first half, while the starters were struggling and they're struggling with the physicality and the size of the Cleveland starters, the bench came in. And this is where the night got fun. This is where I tweeted out, during the game, like, I'm having a heap of fun watching this game. This game's fun as hell. Yes, of course, when I say that, like, it's not like I've got, I had some people tweeting, like, there's people saying this game's fun. Like, what are they looking at? Like, I just was enjoying this game, man. Like, it's a close game. Of course, there's going to be mistakes and things that people don't like. But this bench lineup, the lineup of Danilo Gallinari, Asar Thompson, Kevin Knox, Monte Morris, Alec Burks, they came in towards the end of the first quarter and they were just on fire. And Danilo Gallinari tonight finishes with 20 points, 6 of 8 from the field, 4 of 4 from 3. And after Mike Muscala went down with, it looked like some form of concussion in the first quarter, Danilo was tasked with playing the backup 5, and he looked good. Like, defensively, I mean, the Pistons were giving up layups anyway, and that's a larger team issue, and the defense is this team's biggest issue right now. But, with the personnel they have, like, I thought the way Gallinari defended at the 5, he was fine. He had 3 rebounds in 23 minutes. He hit some tough shots. Like, he was in a zone tonight, whereas if he only played 23 minutes, and that's probably what you're going to get from him these days at 34, 35 years old, coming off an ACL. But I think, yeah, he was making tough shot after tough shot, 4 of 4 from 3, got to the line. He's a sneaky, good foul drawer, and which helps when you're, have that lack of athleticism that he has these days. So I thought he was huge. Asar Thompson really thrived at the 4 alongside Danilo. For those that have watched a lot of the Pistons game this season, the one thing that holds Asar back in many lineups is his lack of shooting. It's hard to find a lineup to really accentuate Asar, especially with the Pistons core 4. But tonight, alongside Kevin Knox, who's a spacer, Monte Morris, who can shoot, Alec Burks is a spacer, and Gallinari is a spacer, he was able to, cut, and he had a couple of dunks tonight, one off the back cut, where he just caught the defense sleeping. Sorry. A couple of assists, couple of steals, 6 boards for Asar. Only played the 18 minutes, which I know was a big issue for a lot of Pistons fans. And I'm going to get to that later when we talk about the Pistons not being able to close this one out. But yeah, Asar just kind of thrived in the space he was provided. Only took the 3 shots, but defensively, he was mucking things up. Like, he, against the bench lineups, like, he had those couple of steals, one of which turned into a Kevin Knox dunk down the other end. Played some really good defense in a short spurt against Donovan Mitchell. I believe Mitchell shot 0 of 3 tonight when Asar was guarding him. They only played on each other for 3 minutes per the NBA.com matchup data. But, yeah, he showed some flashes there. And I think, another positive game for Asar. Just on Asar, like, I fully get why people want to see him play 30 minutes. 18 minutes isn't enough. But, I guess this will kind of get me to my next point. So I might hold back on this. But, I think it's fine for his development to play 20 to 24 minutes like he probably should have tonight and have 4.6 rebounds, like, play the defense he did. Like, I get the argument people wanted him on to close the game and to play on Donovan Mitchell. But my rebuttal to that and why I'm not as frustrated with that is because I just feel like Donovan Mitchell, like, I'm going to pull up some numbers here, but he's in a zone right now, Donovan Mitchell, where, I don't know, he finishes with 45 points tonight. He's at, in his past 10 games, he's averaging 28 points, 48% from the field. Like, on the season, what's he averaging in the season? 27 points. Like, at home, he averages 30 a game. I just feel like no matter who's on him, even if you put Asar on him, and Monty said this in his post-game presser, and like and maybe this is on the Pistons not to switch everything, but Cleveland were just hunting the mismatch. Like, they would just try and get Asar off him. And I guess maybe that goes back to Monty's defensive strategy. But either way, I guess in a broader sense, and people might disagree with me, and that's fine. Like, I just feel like Asar is not shutting down Donovan Mitchell completely in the clutch. But I digress. I'm sure people are going to disagree with me. I think he could have played a few more minutes tonight, but I think playing him from mid of the third quarter all the way to the end of the game, like a 16, 17-minute run, I reckon he would have got gassed. And personally, I don't think that's what decided the game. So I think in terms of positives for tonight, if I just touch on Cade and Ivy, obviously Cade's first game back after missing a game and coming back. Bit of a it was a good game for Cade. 19.7 assists, 0 turnovers, which is huge. 8 of 16 from the field. He did a lot of damage in the mid-range tonight. In fact, I feel like of his 8 field goals, 5 of those were pull-up middies, which in particular, that in the third and start of the fourth, he really got going in the mid-range and helped the Pistons, get out to a 5-6 point lead at one stage there. Defense still an issue, kind of to be expected coming back after the knee sprain and having some time off. But yeah, I'm not sure that's something that's going to get fixed this season, to be honest, with just where this team and roster's at. But yeah, Cade's defense really needs to step up because, as I've said, defense for this team is just the biggest issue. And yes, they have players like Bojan Bogdanovic and like Danilo Gallinari and Jaden Ivey. Like, they have players who might not be good at defense, but your leader in Cade, I don't need him to be the stopper on the team, but he needs to be better defensively. And I guess that ties me over to Jaden Ivey, who tonight had 14 points, 4 assists, 5 or 7 from the field, 5,000, 4 turnovers. Look, couple of bad turnovers. I don't know, couple of poor turnovers. They hurt. They really hurt. I think a couple, that's what happens. He definitely got more on ball reps tonight. I think I really like the balance Monty had between him and Cade. And sure, I just feel like 4 turnovers between Cade and Jaden is an awesome result. I think we should almost look at it through the lens of what are Cade and Jaden, if they're your 2 primary ball handlers playing minutes alongside each other, if you're going to split their usage a bit more evenly, even if it's skewed towards Cade like it should be, I think we should be looking at turnovers for both of them because that's your backcourt. And tonight, 4 turnovers between the 2 of them, I think that's pretty good. Obviously, Jaden has to be way better, but I thought his effort tonight on the defensive end, he was called for 5 fouls, but there was a foul, which I'm going to bring up some clips here in the last 3 minutes, but Karis LeVert drove to the rim and just straight elbowed Jaden Ivey in the lip, and Ivey got called for the foul. At a really crucial time where Karis goes to the line and puts the Cavs up by 2, but Jaden comes off with a blood lip. Maybe Monty there, a bad mistake from him, he should have reviewed that play. I don't know why, if there's blood on someone's face, why the referees aren't just reviewing that anyway for a flagrant. That kind of is a weird one to me. Someone please explain that to me because I'm not an expert in refereeing. So if I'm wrong there, I thought if there's anytime there's blood or a player's dazed or some form of injury, there's a review. But anyway, that was a tough call. I thought his effort tonight was brilliant on the defensive end. And, he still has lapses, but I think for a guy in his halfway through second season, from where he was last season to where he is now, his effort and kind of his intensity on that end, it says he only finished with 1 rebound tonight, but I saw him flying for rebounds on the offensive end. I think he's really trying. And look, people might say I'm Ivy Stan or whatever, but I've been impressed with what I've seen from him, even when he has these, games that don't look great on the stat sheet. If anything, I don't know why he only took 7 shots tonight. He hit 2 of 3 from downtown. The jumper looked a little bit better of late. So that to me is a bit amusing. In terms of good performers, just want to give a little shout out to Marcus Sasser. Once again, he only played 10 minutes tonight, but he knocked down 1 3 and the 4 assists. Like his passing in the past few games is definitely something to keep an eye on. Tonight he had another one of those pick and roll kind of reps with Asar, and he found Asar on the roll, and Asar made the shot. And that's just something to really keep an eye on because his passing has been something that's been in question this season. And obviously throughout his college career, it wasn't his strength. He's kind of a two guard trapped in one's body. But yeah, I think, he's passed in the past few games. I've really been encouraged by it. And it's, you know, I think for the size he's at in the NBA, his passing needs to get a lot better because I think for him to truly make a big impact, he's probably going to have to be a backup. Might not have to be strictly like a backup, pass first point guard. He'll never be that. But I think he really has to improve his playmaking element to stay on the NBA floor. So that was good to see. So I guess that's probably it for the game. Like I said, Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell were just, those two are probably going to be all-stars. Donovan definitely will. The Cavs are really good. Like, they're really good. Defensively, their length. The Pistons put up 121 points tonight. That's mainly because they had it clicking from deep. They hit 16 to 31. But, I don't know. The Cavs, they're big. The Pistons end up winning the rebounding battle. But, I don't know. It just felt like the Cavs got all the main ones. I know that might be a bit of a lazy take. But it just felt like they were, you felt their size. And then you also just felt like Darius Garland tonight didn't do a whole lot, but he still had 19 points, hit a couple of crucial shots. They're just, they're at a different stage to the Pistons, and there's a reason they're 29 and 16. And as I said at the start, are one of the best teams in the league right now. So I think just to close it out on this game in particular, I get why fans don't care about moral victories. I'm not saying it's a moral victory. My approach from here on out is just game by game. And maybe I'm wrong for that. Maybe that isn't how you other people are doing it, but I'm just taking it game by game because, if the roster's not going to change and the front office isn't going to change, at least for this season, then, for me, I've spoken about it. I'm not in the camp of a Zach LaVine trade. I really don't. I get the thinking behind it, but I just don't really like it. I don't think there's much Detroit can do. So I'm just going to take it game by game. But I do understand why people will look at this and still be angry after the game and not see any positives and any light because it's been just, we've had 2 months of the most pathetic basketball ever in November and December. So I get why people are kind of checked out. But, I saw some positives tonight. There's things I've liked recently. So let me know in the comments how you felt about the game. I think anyone's entitled to feel however they want. But, yeah, I saw some positives tonight. And honestly, up until the last 3 minutes, which I'm going to get to soon, I actually had a lot of fun watching that game. So let me know how you guys felt in the comments. But I think from there, I'm just going to get to the next part. I've got here in the talking points, Monty's rotations were better. Now, we've gotten to that point with Monty where, rotations, lineups, it's kind of something we're watching every game, every quarter. And tonight, I think if you did not see one positive in the game, I've got one here that I would have to think 99% of Pistons fans would agree with me on in this being a positive. And that is with the 11 players that played tonight and the 3 players that did not play. Now, the 3 players that had DNPs, coaches' decisions, Joe Harris, we've expected that. He hasn't shot the ball well. Good. James Wiseman, since the trade, I don't think has played a minute. If he has, it's been in junk time, but I don't recall him playing a minute. Good. Killian Hayes, DNP, coach's decision. Finally. And I'm not shitting on the players, but man, it has taken 47 games for Monty to finally realize that Kay Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Alec Burks, Monte Morris, and a little bit of Marcus Sasser is all the Pistons need. Like, thank the Lord. I'm not a religious man, but I just think that, like, that has to be something. If you're a Pistons fan and you disagree with me on that, actually, please let me know in the comments, because that has been, like, Killian Hayes has had a couple of stretches here and there this season where he's looked like an NBA, backup guard or third, fourth guard. But I mean, he's been struggling since he came back from injury and just hasn't looked the same, and spoken about it a lot. But I think he's got an opportunity elsewhere in the NBA. But with the way this roster is constructed, he should not be playing minutes. James Wiseman should not be playing minutes on this team. I'm sure he's going to go to some other team and have a moment somewhere, not with the Pistons, not with the way the Pistons roster is constructed. He doesn't fit alongside Jaden Ivey. He doesn't fit alongside Asar Thompson. So, and that's not to mention even their flaws. So anyway, I just think I was happy with the players that played tonight. Now, in terms of rotations, Asar Thompson coming off the bench doesn't bother me. I like Mike Muscala starting at the 4. He actually is a 4 more than a 5. He's been a 4, a stretch 4 throughout most of his career until recently. I'm okay with him playing at the 4 tonight against Mobley and Allen. Now, I know he obviously only played 4 minutes, so that didn't last very long. But there's a bit of, people quite contentious about Silence starting tonight. I think that's fine. If Asar Thompson doesn't start a game for the rest of the season and this roster stays as is and stays healthy, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's fine. Danilo Gallinari, backup 5, big tick. That worked well tonight. Have to give Monty some props there. The only thing that kind of was a bit questionable tonight was maybe not letting that bench unit run a bit longer in the 4th for me. And this is where Monty spoke about in the post-game presser. He was trying to find a balance of how long do you leave the starters on the bench before they go cold, and how long do you let the bench run while they're running hot. And he probably didn't get that balance right tonight. Maybe you leave the bench players in for a bit longer. He left Alec Burks in to close this one, or if he checked out, he came back in to close this game. Maybe I think closing the game, like, tough. Bogey, like, Bojan had a bad game. Like, he was bad. Made a couple of key threes, but you're going to see in some clips here, he wasn't great. But I just feel like his spacing, like, no matter how he's playing, like, it's tough to keep him off the floor when he's your team's best scorer. And so, yeah, maybe you let the bench run a bit longer while they're hot. Maybe, I mentioned it before, Asar should have played probably a few more minutes. Maybe could have brought him in at the end to try and stop Donovan Mitchell. But I think for the most part, they were better. And I think the Pistons losing by 7 points in Cleveland to the Cavs, I think there's things you could have changed. But I think for the most part, with talent on this roster, I think Monty did a pretty decent job tonight. So we're going to get to some things here in my last segment where we're going to go through some of the final possessions, which there's things in here that are on Monty. But I think for the most part, at least the players that played tonight and the rotations and the lineups that were put out on the floor, I'm pretty okay with. So anyway, let me know. I know a lot of people, Monty is, there's still plenty of debate whether he's the right coach for this team. Obviously, it looks like he's not, but I think he's here to stay. So I think to see some progression, that's, I know this isn't going to please a lot of people, but I think that tonight, to say, I can only speak for myself, and I actually thought there were some good things tonight. To close the show out, I put some clips together of kind of the last 3 minutes, and I just want to go through them on the screen with you, and I'll be interested to hear your guys' comments on kind of any of these plays if they stuck out to you. But just the Pistons just can't close games, and it's offensively, and also there's just stuff sometimes defensively. So I'm just going to bring up these clips here, and we're going to start here. So Pistons tied at 116 apiece. This is where I think Jaden Ivey, finds Jalen Duren, puts the Pistons up 2. So with 3 minutes 20 to go, the Pistons were leading and things were looking good. Then here, this is where Donovan Mitchell misses bad, and then the Pistons just cannot haul in defensive board. That's a tough rebound, but just one of those bang-bang 50-50 plays of Pistons. Goes back to a tie game. Here, this is a shot, like, I know it's Jared Allen, but I just feel like Cade really left one on the table there. Like, that was good offense to me. This one here, this is that Jaden Ivey player I was speaking about where he gets elbowed in the face, blood comes out of his lip, and he's called for the foul. Cavs go up 2. Another pretty good shot there. For Boyan coming off kind of a pin down screen. You live with that. That's just a replay of the play before. Here, Pistons kind of don't get back in transition, semi-transition. And here, I just want to show, so obviously Cade's got Donovan Mitchell here, and then Jalen Duren's coming to provide help. Right here, now if you look at Jarrett Allen and Jaden Ivey, this is where I'd like to see Ivey just try and, he puts his arm out to kind of slow Allen's beeline to the rim, but maybe just try get a bit in front, just be a bit more aware in transition. And here, Jared Allen grabs it, and look, he's kind of got Jalen Duren on the back foot, Pistons down 4. Still plenty of time here. Now, this shot here it's open. It is open, but 20 seconds on the shot clock, I don't know. With where the game's at, I probably look, it goes in and out. I don't know. Part of me wanted that to be take your time, but that's not a bad shot. This was the killer here. This is where Pistons took a timeout before this, and they don't get a shot off. Alec Burks just, lost complete and utter time of what was going on, and that was the killer there. Cade here misses an easy layup, once again bothered by Jared Allen. And then this here was just the icing on the cake in the sense of like the Pistons just can't do anything. Like in the last 2 minutes, I don't even know what Pokey was trying to do there, but man, this team, they just can't close games. We look at the clutch stats. The Pistons ranked 30th in the league, no surprise, in games in the last 5 minutes of games, or in games within 5 points in the last 5 minutes. The Pistons are 3-19, by far the worst in the league. They shoot 30% in clutch situations, 20% from 3, 1 turnover, which is actually quite high relative to the league. I guess I don't even know if this is necessarily positive, but the Pistons have played in 22 clutch games this season, which ranks 16 in the league. So, look, there have been a lot of clutch games, or half their games have been within 5 points in the last 5 minutes, which I guess it's kind of positive. But, they just can't close games out. Some of it's coaching, like that Alec Burks shot clock violation. Why is the ball in his hands? He had it there from when 6 seconds left on the shot clock. I know it's not a ton of time, but just kind of dribbling aimlessly. Like, surely there's an emphasis on getting that ball in Cade or Boyan's hands. It does feel like the Pistons in the clutch kind of defer to Bogey a lot. A lot of their actions are run for him, like coming off screens, whether it's a 3 from above the break, or sometimes they like to put him in pick and roll. Bit of an overemphasis on a 35-year-old kind of wing who can score, but, I think at a bare minimum, you want Cade in these situations getting the opportunity to create in the clutch. Even if they lose, at least it's experience for him. So, the Pistons, it feels like they're just, anytime it's close, it feels inevitable. Like, I've said that word a few times on the show this year. So, I honestly, that was a bit like I had fun in that game. Obviously, the last 3 minutes sucked. Refs tonight were questionable, but that's not ever something I really want to get into too much, because I feel like every team can, nitpick calls. But that Jaden Ivey one in particular was pretty bad. Cade got a couple of fouls where it just felt like he had his arms up on drives and guys kind of initiated the contact into Cade. I think that's something the NBA probably is going to look at in this offseason because it feels like it's becoming an issue where the offensive player driving to the rim. Like, I mean, the Pistons get some luck out of this a lot of the time with the way Alec Burks drives to the rim, but when the offensive player is initiating the contact with the defender who's got their arms up sliding, like, I think that's something the league's going to look at in the offseason because I feel like that's come up a ton just on NBA socials, just with bad calls, offensive players kind of exaggerating contact, which has been an issue for a while, but just more so than ever, it feels like it. So frustrating game in the end. I enjoyed that game though for the most part. Let me know how you guys feel. And yeah, I think we're less than a week away from the trade deadline. Sometimes I think it's good that we haven't heard too many rumors recently. Obviously, there's Zach LaVine, but could also just be a bad thing because maybe the Pistons are doing nothing. But anyway, let me know if you've heard any trade thoughts, any trades you'd like the Pistons to make. But until the next game where we'll be back to recap, go Pistons.